The objective of this lesson is to assist students in understanding the definition of a growing pattern and be able to extend a growing pattern to the next 3 terms. In previous lessons, we learned about repeating patterns. Just as a reminder, the part of the pattern that repeats over and over again is called the core. A specific piece of the pattern is the term number. Please note that in 4th grade, students are not required to guess or infer the underlying rule for a pattern, but rather they will generate a pattern from a given rule and identify the features of the given pattern. This lesson is a task to introduce the underlying background for determining a pattern. This lesson is about patterns that grow. The following numbers show a growing pattern of adding 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on. We can identify that it is growing by 2s, or each term is increasing by 2 more. This is an additive pattern that isn't growing quickly, but it is going at a steady pace. If we want to know what the next 3 terms are, we will keep adding 2 more and get 10, 12, 14. Another additive pattern is add 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, and so on. So what are the next 3 terms? 15, 18, and 21, which are multiples of 3. Another type of growing pattern is a multiplicative pattern of multiplying by 2. It could look something like this: 2, 4, 8, 16. Each time a new term is added, the previous term is multiplied by 2. This pattern grows quickly. The next 3 terms to this pattern are 32, 64, 128. Here is an example of another growing pattern, this time made of shapes. First, identify the core, then look at each term to identify how many blocks are added to the core of the pattern. The core is the center square with a square on each side. How many blocks are added to the next term, or term number 2? There are 4. And how many are added to term number 3? There are 4 again. For this additive growing pattern, since we are adding, we can say that it is growing by 4 each term. The following is another growing pattern with 4 terms shown. Identify the core and then see how many blocks are added from term 1 to term 2. We can see that there are 2 blocks added. How many are added from term 2 to term 3? 2 more blocks. This pattern is growing from the bottom upwards. After studying this pattern, we can see that 2 blocks are added to each term. With the information we just concluded, we can now determine what the next terms will look like. The objective in this lesson was to assist students in understanding the definition of a growing pattern and be able to extend a growing pattern to the next 3 terms. We met this objective by looking at different patterns and determining how they are growing.